Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chris Reviews, and I am joined tonight. He's bringing in the clickbait. It's JXEditor. It's been a while, my friend.
How you doing?
And Pooch. What was the dog's name?
Floyd.
Floyd.
Right.
There we go.
Clickbait's over. Good boy.
Awesome. Right, that's the thumbnail sorted. Excellent. Right. We are here tonight to talk about Andor. We're up to episode 5 on this show so far. The Axe Forgets, and like the Axe, I almost forgot what the title of this episode was until I just went onto Wikipedia. So I actually sound knowledgeable about what I'm talking about. But yeah, no, it's great to have you on, man. It has been a while. We're kind of reminiscing before we went live, actually, how long it's been since we've been in like a sit-down situation like this where we're actually talking to each other on camera. We do stay in touch.
Yeah, we've been busy though.
Yeah, absolutely. Adult life is just hitting us like a truck. But yeah, we're here to talk about Andor. It's going to be fun because we haven't really talked about it in depth, surprisingly. I don't think a day goes by, really, where we don't talk about Star Wars in some respect. But we haven't really talked about Andor all that much, so I'm going to be handing over to you very, very shortly just to kind of get your opinions on the show so far. In the meantime, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Please do subscribe to the channel for more reviews, movie reviews, but also television reviews are pretty much taking over at the moment between this and the Rings of Power. There's certainly a lot to talk about for both of those. Discussions, live streams, everything in between. And while you're at it, give me a follow on Twitter as well. You can find me at Hobbit Fan Editor. We may as well do it at the beginning, at the end, but if people signing in, do you want to just tell people where they can find your channel as well and everything?
Yeah, sure. It's youtube.com/JXEditor. I try to respond to comments that are like questions. Also, if you're active on Discord, I'm on the Movies Remastered Discord server.
Awesome. And I've got a link to your Twitter in the description down below as well. I know you don't do that Twitter thing, but you do have an account, so why not throw that in there as well? And handing it over to everyone. Yeah. And handing over to everyone watching as well. Let me know your thoughts on Andor. Tonight's episode, the latest episode, and indeed the series overall, if you haven't shared your opinions already. Speaking of sharing opinions on Andor, I'm going to hand over to you now. That way, I will get used to that at one point, mirrored. What are your opinions on the show so far? Because I'm interested in this too. Because we haven't, as I mentioned, we haven't really talked about it.
So I hadn't really been keeping up with the show. I watched episode 4 yesterday, I think.
I think you messaged me, didn't you? And you was like, I'm one episode away from being fully caught up. So yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, and so so far, I like the story about Andor. It's kind of my second favorite thing about the show. It's really doing a great job at just world building.
Yeah.
Like the bureaucracy, just these little offhand comments, just props in the background. It's all excuse me. It's all just like alluding to a much larger picture.
Yeah, that was my biggest takeaway as well so far, is that I messaged you saying that I'm not particularly enthralled by this series. Like, I don't think it's the most entertaining thing ever. I've heard the term slow burn thrown around a lot, and if we're going by that, then I'd say even 5 episodes into a 12-episode series, it's still kind of in that slow burn phase at the moment. The storytelling's very weird how they're doing it. It seems like they're doing almost like a trio, like a 3-episode arc per group of episodes, similar to, I guess, what Clone Wars did in some respects. It had some standalone episodes, but then the real meat of the story would be, these 3 or 4 episode arcs.
So, but yeah, I'm first season of Mandalorian did it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point too. And I'm kind of with you that my favorite thing about it is the world building and just. I mean, we talk about Star Wars a lot, but a lot of times we argue about Star Wars as well. We have very different takes on it, but we all have a shared love for the same thing, which is great. But this just feels like it's actually written for adults, and that there's a lot of nuance to it, as you mentioned, and moral gray areas. It's not like some slapdash writing from Rise of Skywalker or Book of Boba Fett or even Kenobi. I know that you enjoy Kenobi more than I do, but it actually feels like a proper series made by adults, written by people that have something to say. It's not just kind of throwing all of the classic Star Wars iconography down your throat just for the sake of getting it in there in terms of like cameos and things like that, or name drops to things. There are some name drops to, in this episode, Jakku, I think Scarif's been mentioned, and a few other little Easter eggs for people, but it doesn't feel obtrusive to the actual story that's being told. It feels genuinely like the real seeds of a rebellion. It feels very adult. It feels very mature in its approach. And despite the fact that it's not a very entertaining series so far, I'm kind of latching on to that side of things, that I'm genuinely interested in seeing this rebellion build from the ground up and the more mature take on things, I guess.
Also, that one guy said shit.
He did, yeah. Everyone's losing their shit about that. But everyone was like, oh my God, it's the first curse word in Star Wars. And I'm like,
move your metal ass, 3PO.
Well, there's that. Didn't Finn say, you murdering bastard in The Last Jedi? I mean, I guess that are we doing like different degrees of swears now, that bastards, like an illegitimate child, and shit is like an actual curse word? Like,
yeah, I think, I think the world has kind of matured. Well,
yeah.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah. And I mean, in the show, you do have things, Coruscant. It's great to go back to Coruscant. Sadly, we didn't get that with episode 9. The episode 9 that we could have had and probably should have had would have been great to go back to that planet. You get TIE fighters and stuff like that. But the question I want to ask you before we dive into episode 5 proper is, do you think it's too removed from Star Wars at the moment? Yes, you have characters like Mon Mothma coming back, and the Imperials are there. But do you think by not having all of those classic things in it, that it's kind of lost the traits of its IP, and this could just be like any kind of generic sci-fi rebellion, Hunger Games kind of show?
So somebody actually made that same point to me today at work. They were literally like, you can't have Star Wars without the Jedi. And I was just like, absolutely can.
Yeah.
But...
And I'm not saying I need that. I'm just curious on your opinion of it. Do you think it's kind of become too divorced from the IP that it's telling a story in, or... Because tonally it's very different from a lot of the stuff we've had recently, certainly.
I see where someone would come from if they were saying that, but I personally don't think it's too far removed, especially because I think that Star Wars is just a really good setting where you can tell literally any kind of story. Like, case in point, Solo.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I wasn't too keen. I see what you're saying.
But it exists.
And I think, well, I mean, we'll probably never see these scenes. They'll probably never see the light of day. But even to this day, I'm still so curious what that original cut of Rogue One would have been like, with all of that footage from the trailers and everything like that. And I think Rogue One...
Edwards talk about that?
You are sorry?
Did you hear what Gareth Edwards said about that?
No, I haven't heard what he said.
He was essentially, there were no deleted scenes because the scenes in the movie, like there were no released deleted scenes because the scenes in the movie are the scenes in the movie, and what was deleted was shots, essentially. Like, which I'm like, so you've got this whole like them running through the beaches, and this whole like, I feel like an entire subplot was removed there.
Yeah, you had Krennic on the ground,
kind of
when his cape's like... Yeah, you had Krennic on the beach, the TIE fighter coming up to Jyn at the end.
I was wondering if
the Vader scenes as well. There was entire new Vader in a different location, whether he's on the Death Star or wherever he was.
Yeah, Krennic was going to survive Scarif, and then Vader was going to choke him.
Yeah. And I think then Disney came in and said, like, no, we need lightsabers in this. And then we get the Vader scene, which granted is a very cool scene. I'll stand by that. It's a very cool scene. It's been a while since I've gone back to Rogue One, actually. I'm interested to see how it would hold up now, because I went to see that film a ridiculous amount of times at the cinema when it came out. I think I went to see it like 6 times. And then I watched it again after that. It was actually at a local screening to me, because I don't know if I want to give away my location now, but Gareth Edwards is from a place that's not far from where I live. And they did a screening of Rogue one time, and he went there. I don't know how he feels about that movie. I've got to assume that in typical Disney fashion, he probably made the film he wanted to make, and then Disney were like, nah, we're going to make some changes. Because the first part of Rogue One just feels like an absolute clusterfuck of a film, and then eventually it kind of finds its footing after that. But my point was going to be that Rogue One it kind of skirted the line around some of those moral grey characters. Hell, Cassian Andor, like his first scene where he shoots his comrade because he's probably going to get kidnapped and give some information away to the Imperials. That was good stuff, but it felt like there were the seeds of all these great characterizations, but nothing was really doubled down on. Whereas it feels like this show is actually doing what I wish Rogue One would have done more of. Even though I keep thinking that Cassian Andor probably isn't the most entertaining character to do a show on, and I still kind of stand by that. Part of me may have preferred a Jyn Erso show because I think you would have got more to take away for her character going into Rogue One. But anyway, let's move on to the episode in question. Just overall thoughts. I'll pass over to you first because I've done enough talking. What were your thoughts on episode 5, kind of exclusively?
So, I think the bare essentials are my first and my last note. My last note more important. Don't love that both this and the last episode felt like they were going to be followed by the heist.
Yeah,
I think that says a lot about this episode, like narratively, world buildingly. My first note is serial. I'm in. Can't wait for I'm looking forward to the Binging with Babish episode.
we should talk about that.
Going to get
because you asked me that question before we went live, and I said let's save it for the review itself. You said, "What's your take on serial in Star Wars?" Isn't he in it with Blue Milk as well? I mean,
oh yeah, I feel like at this point, Blue Milk is established because the term Blue Milk Run, which I hate, it was in Jedi Outcast, but it's a thing. Blue Milk is at the beginning of Rogue One. Blue Milk is distributed and in households across the galaxy. And it's weird because they're like, drink your milk to Cassian later. And it's cream colored. It's kind of yellowish because it's probably like straight from the, I don't know. I don't know what it could be from. It's definitely not a bantha or a giant siren with like these 4 titties.
Yeah, that kind of reminded me of the Matrix later on, where they're drinking the milk. It's I think it's the bit where Cypher gives him a drink and it's like engine fuel or something. He just goes like, "Oh yeah, that's good stuff." It's like everything the body needs or whatever it is. It just reminded me of Matrix a little bit. And the younger kind of green kid reminded me of Mouse a little bit, kind of, like the young upstart of the group kind of thing. That's very naive. Yeah, but cereal I mean, what else are they going to have for breakfast, right? Sure.
What are they going to eat with their calf?
And he lifts it up right up to the camera as well. I thought, are Disney going to get on this hype and release this as a breakfast cereal? I mean, if you're going to have cereal in Star Wars, you best believe it's going to be blue milk.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Well, I noticed that it's half blue, half like just like I don't know if you have this in England, but it kind of reminds me of Kix.
I don't think we probably have an equivalent. I've seen cereals similar to it before. I know what you're talking about, but I don't think it was as on the nose as the blue milk reference in Rogue One, though, where there's like a full-on slow zoom center frame of the blue milk in Rogue One.
Yeah,
do you remember that scene?
Yeah, you really, the first 2 movies, the first 2 Disney Star Wars movies are just love letters to A New Hope, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess so. If you're gonna call it that, yeah, or just a plain straight up rip off. Yeah, well, Rogue One definitely, because you had Ponda Baba and Dr. Evazan show up for a random cameo. 3PO and R2D2, which just was so pointless.
Not only pointless, continuity breaking.
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of when you think about it, like, I enjoy Rogue One for what it is. As I say, I don't know how well it's going to hold up now if I went back and rewatched it, but there's a lot of continuity breaking shit in that film.
The actually Panda Bobo and Dr. Evazan, you know how the elephant guy with the glasses is on Scarif too? The Imperial spy, as he's called in like
really?
Star Wars. Yeah, he's apparently chasing them.
But he's specifically looking at Obi-Wan and Luke and crew in A New Hope.
It's probably more money.
Oh god, is this like really terrible Wilbur? Does the Imperial spy have a name, or is he
He
just like
does.
the best spy in the business? Like nobody knows his name. He's the man with no name.
No, he's got a name, and it's in your favorite of the new canon books, From a Certain Point of View,
Oh god, of course it
the
is.
collection of
Of course it
short
is.
stories that take place during A New Hope. Because of course there's one about him.
Yeah.
My favorite is still Will Wheaton's.
Oh, is that the stormtrooper at the checkpoint thing that Obi-Wan goes through?
No, but I do love the term "getting sizzles on some Jawa juice," which is in that. No, that one's the one where it's like it's about the guy who, the guy who like does the speed gun on the Falcon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He gets a story, and it's a letter to his daughter, who's just like, yeah. So Scarif was just destroyed by the Death Star. We probably don't have long. I need to stay and fight, but I'm sending you off to go live with your aunts. I promise it. Like, this is how the story rounds off. I promise you will be safe on Alderaan.
Oh no. Wait a minute. Didn't but he would have still been on Yavin. I was gonna say, wasn't Alderaan destroyed before that point in the film? But yeah, he would have still been on that planet, wouldn't he? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's really depressing. See, I absolutely despair at stories like that, because it's just like, this is so pointless, but nevertheless I'm still happy that we have them, because now when I watch that film, that's going to give me a whole new perspective on his character. On the
And Tarkin.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah. But you mentioned Jawa juice there. Like, I'm so hung up on Star Wars beverages, and this is a topic of discussion that we talk about in our everyday quite a lot. We always come back to it, and it's the Timothy Zahn novels, the Thrawn trilogy, with hot chocolate. So I don't know how I can exist in a world where I'm fine with cereal in Star Wars, but not hot chocolate. And there was something else recently, wasn't there? You mentioned. You said, okay, so we're fine with this, but we draw the line at hot chocolate.
Yeah. No, I sent you a message. I was like, okay, so we're okay with ducks, dragons, and falcons,
but not hot chocolate.
But not hot chocolate.
No. I don't know. Maybe it was because it was the first book to do that. No, dragons, I guess. No, we had crate dragons, didn't we? But
falcons, dude, falcons.
I mean, let's be honest. Crate dragons are more like worms than they are actual.
Yeah, but they're still called dragons.
Aren't there any dragons in Star Wars? I mean, you're the encyclopedia knowledge of Star Wars. I mean, there probably are actual dragons.
Oh no! Why did you make me think about that? Oh
yeah, see,
there is.
I know you know your shit.
There's one in Crystal Star. It's such a bad book.
This is why you're on here. You know your shit.
Crystal Star is the worst. Novel in Legends. Like there's like the Glove of Vader, which is bad, but at least that's like for children.
The glove. Well, now you've got to explain what the Glove of Vader is.
That's the one that introduces Trioculus.
Oh, is that Palpatine's son?
That's the one pretending to be Palpatine's son. Palpatine's son is Triclops, and he's got an eye on the back of his head.
Dude, I'm thinking some crazy thoughts right now. In Rise of Skywalker fan edit, can we get a third eye on the flashback scene?
No.
Let's make it happen. Come on, you can do it. You have the power. Do we see the back of his head?
No, maybe. Oh, fuck.
We've got Mythic Dawn in the chat. How are you doing, my friend? We're just shooting the shit about. I promise we will get back to the episode in a minute, but I'm just enjoying this chat right now. We're just shooting the shit about Star Wars. So
Mythic Dawn, praise Dagon.
Right. Okay. Other things that I enjoyed. This is the thing about this episode. It feels like not a lot happened, and I agree with your sentiments. How like the end of the previous episode felt like, right, we're actually getting this thing moving, and then.
Can I eat my food?
We're still kind of in the same place a little bit, but I did appreciate that this time it took its time to at least establish some of the characters that, this group that Andor finds himself in. Not a whole lot. I mean, I couldn't tell you, pages and pages about these characters, and I think two of the characters definitely get more of a look in than maybe the other ones do. Some of them still are very much background characters to me at the moment. The other female character, not like the main one who was introduced with Skarsgård in the previous episode, but there's another one who's part of the group. She hasn't really had much of a look in at the moment. There's the black guy as well, who you kind of see him taking charge a little bit more in this episode, but I still don't know loads about his character. But we have at least, got some character building moments with the other ones, which I appreciated.
It does say something that you need to be like the blonde one, the black guy.
It's an incredibly diverse group that Andor finds himself
Actually,
in.
Which is useful because we can't remember anybody's goddamn name, so we might as well just be like, yeah, no, there's the blonde one, there's the blonde woman, there's I don't know like what ethnicity she is, but there's the darker skinned woman,
Yeah, she's
and then there's
Asian
the
or
black
something.
guy,
Yeah.
and then there's the kid and the meth head.
Yeah, that's it. And here's the thing, like, I appreciate that we get a little bit of insight as to why they've joined up in this group, and that all
And
of
the
them
Imperial.
Yes, yeah. So I like this group. They've all joined this cause for different reasons, and they've all kind of like just found themselves together, like work colleagues on the first day, and no one knows what they're doing or how to interact with everyone or who they are. So I really appreciate that. But even still, if I'm going to know these characters' names, I'm still going to have to go to Wikipedia and find them. So it hasn't done like an amazing job at establishing these characters, this ensemble that we find ourselves. And the thing is, I don't know how long these characters are going to stick around for. Maybe they all die next episode, like Rogue One style. I don't know. I get the impression they're probably going to stick around a little bit longer, but how they're telling these story arcs, like anything could happen next episode. I guess things are going to have to go well because we still have a Cassian Andor, and I don't see them killing off an entire cast of characters like that early on into a flagship Disney Plus series. But I don't know. This is why I'm still torn. Like, I don't find any of the characters particularly thrilling or memorable, but I do appreciate that it was like, no, we will give them an episode where they actually talk and share their fears about the upcoming mission and why they've joined the cause and everything. So
Mon Mothma's family can die in a car wreck.
Okay, the Mon Mothma stuff so far is my favorite stuff in the series.
I hate her.
It's great that we're getting more about this character, and the thing is as well, like going into this, and I won't harp on it too much, but Disney can't write female characters in Star Wars recently. They don't do a very good job with them. Rey, Jin, Reva, to name but a few. So when I thought, like, right, this show's also going to be focusing on Mon Mothma and this Imperial character, I thought, I'm fine with that as long as they're written well. And judging by Disney's track record, that's probably not going to be very well. But all of my fears have been allayed in one episode last week when they were both introduced. And I was like, wow, these actually feel like real people. And it's written by mature writers who can actually write good characters. I'm loving the stuff they're doing with Mon Mothma. Did I need to know about her dysfunctional family that she's got going on? No. Does it have a place? I think it does, and I think we'll see that build because we're really getting that sense that she feels completely isolated. She can't even tell her own family this organization that she's a part of, and she's got to put this... It's kind of like the Bruce Wayne effect, she's got to put on this social front, this, in the political field, but behind closed doors, she's actually heavily involved in the rebellion. So I don't know. I'm really liking all that stuff so far.
Well, you mentioned Disney's track record of writing female characters, and you do make some good points. But I would also throw out there that they did write Cara Dune, Hera Syndulla, the most recent Bo-Katan stuff. I know she was done dirty in the movies, but actually Phasma in Resistance and her book is a genuinely compelling character, in my opinion.
Well, can we
at least understandable character?
Say that the animated realm of things, because they actually have competent writers on board, they can actually write good characters, and the live action stuff, maybe
well, the
not
TV, well, I don't know, because you've got Mandalorian in there.
Well, yeah, but we'll have to wait and see what they do with the Ahsoka series. It could go south. It could go south quite heavily, but I guess
Filoni's on board, so.
I mean, Filoni has done some stinky episodes. Didn't he write and direct the worst episode of Series 1 of Mandalorian? The Tatooine episode?
Did he? I don't know.
I'm not sure. He might have done. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And I didn't think Bo-Katan was that interesting in live action Mandalorian anyway.
I would say she was made more interesting in the Boba Fett series, specifically when another female character was talking about her.
Yeah. And then There was that other one who was with Bo-Katan, who was just a really boring character and didn't have a character.
Snoop Dogg's daughter. Niece?
Really?
I think it's his niece. That's why the for those of you who are a fan of my channel, I recently posted a video of an addition to yeah, you can visit my channel, and it's my most recent video. It's a addition to Kajimi in episode 9, where I added more traditional Star Wars music and some B-roll from a bar and some singers that are, alien. And the singer footage is from a Snoop Dogg music video where Snoop is dressed as the Mandalorian. And that video was made because his niece is in the Mandalorian.
Oh, okay. The more I didn't know that. The more you know, I guess. But yeah, go and check out that video because it actually makes the Rise of Skywalker slow down for like 20 seconds, which is nice. Yeah. Also, I never congratulated you on that, but the timing of that close-up of the alien singer with that part of the song, on point. I approve.
It's weird if you've seen the music video and you know what that alien is supposed to sound like.
So, did you just have that scene in mind when you threw it in, or was it an accidental, one of those glorious lightning in the bottle moments when you just drag the clip in and it happens to be perfectly in time with the music?
No. So, it took some lining up, but once I had the shots I wanted of the B-roll and then him going like to the microphone, I synced that to the music, and it perfectly was just like you wipe in and it's sing.
Mm-hmm.
Begin singing. So in a way, kind of, but that specifically needed to be synchronized.
Yeah. No, I dig it. I thought it was really fucking cool. I'm looking forward to what you're working on next as well. Yeah, so Mon Mothma, where do we think this is? Well, it's weird to say where do we think this is going to lead, because of course she's in Return of the Goddamn Jedi, isn't she? But they're really building on this. Her husband isn't supportive. She's living this false life essentially, and then running the rebellion on the side, which I don't know, it just makes a character more complex. And I've mentioned the actress before as well. I'm going to try and find her name again because it always does escape me. Mon Mothma, Genevieve O'Reilly. I say it every time, but her career as this character is so interesting to just plot, isn't it? And I'm really glad she's got another shot at it because she's fucking brilliant. She looks a lot like the original actress, and she's just a damn good actress. So, yeah, give me more Mon Mothma. I'm glad that she's back.
I can't help but notice, I have this written here, that Mon Mothma's family has no relevance or mention later in her life. In the Aftermath novels, in Lost Stars, there is no mention of her family. So, you remember what I said about the whole like them dying in a car crash thing? Like I'd be cool with that happening. I'm looking forward to seeing how this develops for her,
because she's got a very nice space Corvette, similar to Jimmy Smits from Revenge of the Sith, when he's got that like bright red space car.
Except that one was convertible.
Yes, yeah. We're still hoping for more Coruscant footage, aren't we? I don't think we've found any usable stuff yet. I keep looking out for it, but for our own editing exploits, for our own purposes, we're probably going to repurpose some footage from this show, and I don't think we've been given it. We know that we see the inside of the Senate, though. That is in the trailer where they got all the floaty pods still. So, fingers crossed, hopefully. Let's see. Oh, we need to talk about Cyril as well. The security officer who's been disgraced after he royally fucked up his planet.
Wait a second. What's his name?
Cyril. Let me get.
And he was eating.
Oh yeah, Cyril. Yeah. Cyril was eating cereal. God. Jesus.
My God.
It's self-sustaining now. Cyril Khan is his name. So we saw him in the last episode. I think the only scene that you got of him last episode was him returning to his home world on Coruscant, going back to his mom's after his career's fallen on its ass, gets the slap, then gets the hug, and then that's just something moms do, I guess, and then invites him in, like, just to kind of, dust off his wounds, I suppose. And we pick up that storyline now. We get this impression that she's living in the lap of luxury, like things just kind of, it's not what you know, it's who you know kind of thing. And he's not accountable for his actions in any way. She's just like, right, you don't have any future prospects. I'm going to call Uncle Harlow. And he's going to get you in touch with someone to kind of get you back out there. Where do we think Cyril's story is going to go? Do you think he's going to be like another villain who becomes disillusioned from the Empire and joins the rebellion? Or do you think he's going to get right back in there?
I hope this like really motivates him to just be awful.
Yeah.
I hope he honestly, I hope he jokers and kills his mom.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Also, there was another. This alludes to an argument you and I had a long time ago.
Oh, okay. We've had many.
That is the type of woman that Poe is alluding to at the beginning of The Last Jedi. Continue.
That is the kind of woman that Poe is alluding to.
It's about his mother.
Oh, okay.
That's the why don't you call your mother kind of type of woman that I was talking about.
Right. Okay. But yeah, I mean, we don't know who Uncle Harlow is at the moment. Hopefully, but I don't know. I'm kind of. It depends where they take him. Like, this is me just guessing at this point. But I really liked Cyril's character in the first 3 episodes. I thought he was one of the strongest characters in the premiere episodes. I like when all was going to shit in episode 3. He had this like PTSD. Almost, I think I compared him on the stream to Cutler Beckett from the end of At World's End, where everything's exploding around him and people are like, orders, sir. And he doesn't know how to react either. He's had some past trauma. He's had some PTSD before where he's been in a similar situation, or he's so new to the job that he just doesn't know how to handle a situation like that. And I guess you could infer it, you could take that both ways. And for the last 2 episodes, his character's kind of been treading water. So hopefully he becomes more of a prominent character, because they focused a lot on him in the first 3. And I'd like to see that side of things develop. We also have the Imperials still with, I'm still getting used to the characters' names, folks. What's the Imperial officer's name? Dora, Draka, the blonde Imperial lady who smells a rat. What's her name? Daedra. There we go. Daedra.
Oh, Mythic Dawn, you must love this.
She's still digging through old files. She's like, something's fishy. Something's going on with these rebels. They're organized. It's random, but it's too random.
It's too random to be random.
Too random to be Yeah, I was going to make a note of that line.
Love Ongo.
It's too random to be random is a pretty bad line. I'm going to call it out for what it is. It's almost up there with Rings of Power with Galadriel. Do you know why a ship floats and a stone sinks? It's up there. Yeah, it's clearly elves don't know. Shut up! He's being arty. He's being artsy fartsy. He's making a point. He's being verbose.
See, I haven't been following the show.
Oh boy.
I know about the tree, and I'm so upset about that tree. I'm like, what are the Silmarils weren't in trees? Continue.
That's one thing of many.
I know.
To quote a line, "You have not seen what I have seen." Elrond's like, I've seen some shit in my lifetime, and you've read the books, the lore on Elrond. You're like, yeah, Elrond's seen a whole bunch of shit. He's had a really traumatic upbringing. Galadriel's like, yes, but you have not seen what I have seen. I have seen way worse shit than you have, Elrond. I'm like, okay.
It might be alluding to I don't know the show, but if there's like one particular thing that she's seen, maybe I don't know.
She's always got to one-up everyone she talks to. But anyway, this isn't a Rings of Power discussion, but I'd almost say check it out. But I think if you said that, Chris, like, I love this show and I think it's the best thing ever written. I think it's so intellectually stimulating. I don't think me and you can be friends anymore. So maybe don't. It is funny though. Watch it drunk. It's even better.
I call that.
We've got bath time with Vaughn says, of course I joined. You're dissing the Rings of Power in it. Oh, that might be the most British comment I've ever seen. But yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Every chance I get, dude. to our credit, that is the first time that we've mentioned it on stream. So you just joined at the right time. Other things that I noticed, Hosnian Prime gets a name drop in this.
As well as
by the way,
Jakku.
Yeah, Jakku does as well.
Which I don't know how to feel about. Like, I don't hate that it's mentioned, but I was like, it's really weird that like it mattered. Like, I didn't think the rebellion would do anything with Jakku.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would they? Why would the Empire do anything with Jakku? Jakku has an Imperial storehouse for a contingency plan just in case the Empire dies.
Yeah,
the Emperor dies.
Ages down the line, though. That's like years down the line.
Well, no, the storehouse was finished being built just after Revenge of the Sith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird that because I thought Jakku, I mean, you know the lore more than I do, but I thought Jakku was only like a focal point for the Empire when they made their last stand there. Basically, it was like the last death throes of the Empire, and I thought that was the only when Jakku really became prominent to the Empire. So it's weird that they've mentioned it now. Yeah, it's weird that they've mentioned it now.
Like,
I don't know. I don't really like
resources there that might be mined, but
I don't. You know my thoughts on the sequel trilogy, and it's just like, can we just get away from any mention of anything from the sequel trilogy? Stop reminding me that the sequels unfortunately exist. We get a scene at the end as well with Stellan Skarsgård, and he's anxiously waiting for a news or a transmission of something coming out. I kind of missed this, but what the Imperials are there's that festival or something, isn't there? There's that like religious festival of the meteor shower or something in the sky, and
the eye, or
the Empire's basically wiped out this indigenous people that used to live on Avari. Is that the name of the place? And they're a bit superstitious, I guess. I think they said, and that they can't carry out whatever it is they're trying to do because the morale of the troops is low or something. I don't know. They allude to something like that. One thing I did like was how terrifying they make one single TIE fighter in this series so far. Just one patrolling TIE fighter, and it's
what are they gonna do?
Yeah,
it's like the entire Fellowship is scared by a bunch of birds.
Yeah, spies, but it's just that it's nice to see people actually fear the Empire on a level where all hope is lost if one TIE fighter sees us. Because we're so used to the sequel trilogy and stuff where you just see TIE fighters blown up in their droves, and it's just it's cannon fodder, it's spectacle, it's jangling the keys, where it's like, oh no, this is actually a TIE fighter, someone piloting a TIE fighter doing their job and actually, surveying the area. And I don't know, it carries a lot of tension with it. It's like, oh shit, yeah, get down. It's going to spot you. So,
well, in the context of all the movies, like the TIE fighters are just like one small ship against like a bunch of small ships against another bunch of small ships.
Yeah.
So of course some TIE fighters are going to get blown up, and one TIE fighter isn't going to be particularly scary because it's usually up against like the Falcon or something.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in this case, they don't have shit. They can't, like, there's nothing they could do against a TIE fighter.
Yeah, they're building this completely from the ground up. I know that Mon Mothma says that she's sort of like ferrying money to Skarsgård's character. I don't know. I guess that's just for weapons and supplies and food, maybe just to keep the fight going. I don't know if they specifically said where the money's going, but
it's just generally funding the rebellion.
Because I mean, they've got to get a fleet at some point. Like, is the Academy around? Like the X-wings and everything? Is that a thing or?
Well, so all these little sects of. So I think this show is going to be about like the small, or at least this one small like little rebellion, and they're like a bunch of those, like the Ghost Squadron from Rebels, and then in Rebels, Mon Mothma like literally like is like, I'm leaving the Senate and I am fighting the Empire, and then the fleet is essentially assembled from all those small sects.
Oh, okay, just straight away from. Okay, so it's not until Rebels, right? Okay.
Also, they help steal ships for this like building a fleet. Like Hammerhead Corps, there's literally an episode of Rebels with Leia where she helps Ezra steal, helps the crew steal a couple Hammerhead Corvettes.
Well, we'll definitely get some of that in season 2 because I mean, I don't actually know how this is going to go down. It seems like a very strange concept to me, but series 1 is going to be 12 episodes. It's just going to be, beginning to end narratively. Season 2, apparently, I think it's probably going to be another 12 episodes, but it's going to skip like a 5-year time period. It's going to tell a story over the course of 5 years. So I'm guessing they'll probably do the same thing where you might get like a 2 or 3 episode arc. Then we'll jump a year. I think the original idea was that they wanted 5 seasons out of Andor. And each season, probably like Rebels, was going to cover a year leading up to Rogue One. But then for whatever reason, they've cut it down to 2 seasons now. So I really hope that season 2 isn't this rushed experience of just trying to cram everything in there and tie up all the loose threads. But I mean, I haven't watched it yet, but House of the Dragon is doing time jumps every other episode, and apparently that's going down really well. So they straight up recast characters with aged up actors and everything, and apparently it's going well. So
there's really no movie edits to be made about that, huh?
I don't know if you could. It depends. I mean,
get on it, Andreas.
K2 is going to be introduced, I would imagine, at some point. I don't know if it's going to be at the end of season 1 or...
You're right. I forgot about him.
Because they've got to have a friendship. I don't know what... He's either going to get introduced at the end of this series and that will take us... Because you've got to have like a buddy movie, right? You've got to have a duo of some kind, so... And then you'll start... I really hope we get Krennic in season 2. That would be cool. I'd love to see Ben Mendelsohn come back in that role, but...
Matt Mikkelsen.
There you go. Let's get him back. Well, I'm assuming we're going to have Saw Gerrera as well. He's been mentioned at this point. Get him back as well.
Wasn't he in a trailer?
Yeah, I did think that actually. Yeah, he might be in it later on. Yeah, if we see that progress, maybe we'll see the origin of the Bor Gullet too. Who knows? I'd be down for that.
Also, no. Bor Gullet is it's not the species. That's the name of his pet.
Oh, do we know the name of the species?
Yes, but I don't know the name of the species.
Well, I'm gonna go to Wikipedia right now.
Because he doesn't say the Bor Gullet. He says Bor Gullet will find the truth.
Bor Gullet will know the truth.
Yeah. Bor Gullet.
Oh, it's a Myron apparently.
I'm sorry. Wait. How do you spell that?
We're bringing Sauron into this now, apparently.
Yeah, wait, yeah. Is that how that's spelled?
It was Mairan, so it's close.
Close enough.
Myran.
Wow.
It's very close.
I don't like the idea of tentacles and rings.
I think these must have featured in a book somewhere, because there's a 2D drawing of one.
Yeah, I figured.
Myran, also referred to as boars, were a semi-sentient, multi-tentacled, multi-pod species that were native to Mares. They're named after the planet, essentially. I'm going to have to read about the Bor Gullet afterwards, aren't I? Anyway, the comment that I've had up on screen, sorry, dude. Bath Time with Vaughn says, I'm enjoying it, but is this Andor thing still doing okay and worth a watch? Here's the thing. I'm not just judging this by my channel. View-wise, this isn't doing very well. Andor. And I don't know if it's just Star Wars fatigue. I just think maybe it's a character that people don't really care about. In terms of the popular Star Wars iconography, it's not a Boba Fett-like character with Mandalorian. It's not a Baby Yoda. It's not a Luke Skywalker. It's not Boba Fett himself or Kenobi. It's Cassian Andor.
I was waiting for you when you mentioned Kenobi. I'm like, dude.
Yeah. And it's Cassian Andor, and people are going to be like, who's that? And you go, oh, in Rogue One. And I saw that movie. Yeah, it's not a famous character to do a show on, so maybe that's the reason why it hasn't got much attention. I don't know if the marketing hasn't been that great for it in the lead up, if it was more focused on Kenobi than perhaps this show was. I think it's worth a watch so far. I genuinely do. It's very different from most Star Wars stuff, but different isn't necessarily bad. It's very much a slow burn. It's quite bleak in its aesthetic and just its pacing at the moment. But I'm intrigued. I'm still intrigued. I don't think it's the most entertaining show, and I don't think the characterizations at the moment, I don't think the characters are particularly thrilling or memorable, but there's just something about it. And maybe it is just the world building and enjoying this more adult take on Star Wars that I don't think we've seen it from Disney since they bought the rights to it, essentially. Not to this degree, at least. So I'd say check it out. Yeah. But I will say the thing, and this kind of ties into my final thoughts on this episode as well. And I'm probably going to say this as of all the episodes. They're very difficult to talk about episode by episode. And I think that's because they are designed to be these 3-episode stories. I think in hindsight, maybe it would have been better to review this series once all 12 episodes are said and done. And I think the viewing experience of watching all 12 beginning to end as this complete story will be much better than just watching them week to week. But
Sounds like you're going to have an extra stream when the show is done.
yes, indeed. So yeah, episode 5, it's like I can't really say, oh, this is fantastic, this is brilliant, this has advanced the story, because it's just a small segment of a whole, isn't it? So it's just I can't really talk about it in depth. It's one I think that definitely I think they should have released them in 3-episode chunks like they did with the premiere episodes. But then if you look at it that way, Disney Plus would have only had a month worth of Andor content. That's 1 month worth of subscribers, and then you've got to move on to the next thing. Why do that when you could drag it out over the course of 4 months and get more of that and get more people tuning in? So I think some shows are just designed better to be bingeable. And I honestly think this is one of them. I don't think it really merits that week-to-week release like maybe some of them do. I think Mando potentially does because it's quite episodic in nature,
Serial.
whereas this is a more closed story.
Again,
yeah,
cereal.
We should be sponsored by some kind of cereal for this.
Honestly,
I should be eating cereal while we're doing this review.
Honestly, if I had known cereal was going to be like, if I had started watching the episode this morning, like I was planning to do, I watched this episode about 2 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
If I had actually watched it this morning, they have Kicks at work. I would have picked up a box.
Well, you were mentioning with this very sexy new microphone that you've purchased, which I wasn't aware of.
Hello.
So you could eat cereal very close to that microphone.
Oh God!
Does that do it for you? Is that something you'd like to hear?
If it doesn't do it for me, I'm sure it does it for someone out there would probably get off to that. I'm not going to lie.
Hey, 34 of the internet. There's if it exists.
Exactly. And the Boar Gullet does exist. And anime exists. So anyway, Bath Time with Vaughn says, I really hated that bit in Mandalorians where the little AT-AT thing came out of the woods looking like something out of Beowulf. That was class. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I really rated. Was that in season 1 with that?
Yes.
That AT-AT with
it was an ATST.
ATST with like the red eyes, like the red visor thing.
Mm.
Not one of my favorite episodes, but I do really like that image where it just looked like the most pissed off ATST you've ever seen in your life. To be honest, Kenobi was dead. What a waste of premise that was. Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch the whole series, but I watched reviews on every episode, so I know exactly everything that went down in that series, and it looked like an absolute dumpster fire. I need to know if that's a statue of Napoleon. Is that a statue of Napoleon?
Yeah, that's Napoleon.
That's amazing.
I was going to say that's Wellington, but no, that's downstairs.
Speaking of which, isn't Joaquin Phoenix doing I think it's a Ridley Scott movie on Napoleon? Is that his next film? I think he's playing Napoleon.
I don't know, but I really want to, like, if Joaquin Phoenix is doing a movie about Napoleon, I'm that night, the night of the premiere, beef Wellington for dinner, Napoleon's for dessert.
Do you think he's before he goes into battle, he's going to kind of contort his body in this interpretive dance, like the Joker?
I would be genuinely disappointed if he didn't.
Here you go. Bath time. Wise man got a Napoleon bust hanging about with Obi-Wan Kenobi on his shelf. This dude is very observant. Because I couldn't see that. Your camera's so overexposed to me that everything in the background just kind
changing.
of. Yeah.
This isn't Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is a cricket player.
Oh. You know, for a second, what do you call that? Is it the Mandela effect when he put the idea in my head that was Kenobi? I saw Kenobi. I did see it.
Sure.
Bath time. There's some old film about Napoleon versus Wellington, and it's got the best war scenes ever filmed. They literally had an army for the film. Is that Dennis Compton?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm guessing this is probably your father's, right?
Yeah. D. Fairweather.
D. Fairweather.
Fairweather Collection. I don't know.
Wait, is that the name of the make of the? Is that?
I don't know. That could either be the person who, or that could be who made it.
Okay. So that was Andor episode 5, everyone.
I also the editing with the walk like show me how a soldier walks, and then it cuts to the soldiers walking. I like that.
Wait. Oh yeah, where they're kind of rehearsing what they've got to do when they get there.
Right before they rehearse, like they're like showing that that's the next thing that's going to happen. That like because of that they could have just done it off screen, but then a thing happened during that scene, so it mattered. Anyway,
I mean, aren't they just going to do what they always do when they need to infiltrate an Imperial base in this franchise? They just put on some really bad, ill-fitting costumes and just walk right in through the front door. I thought The Last Jedi was the worst thing to do that, but then Kenobi came out, and there's that scene with Kenobi in that giant fucking overcoat when he's hiding Leia underneath his coat. and suddenly I don't feel so bad towards The Last Jedi anymore.
Actually,
that was bad.
The Last Jedi novelization had some nice comments about like specifically Finn when they were doing that, and it's just like he was like Rose comments like he's the model soldier right now. If he had stayed with the First Order, he would have been an excellent officer, and that's fucking terrifying.
He would have been an awful officer.
No, like
the first sign of conflict, and he would have started profusely sweating and panicking.
Maybe.
See, people watching will not know the level of pain that I have. Not just from that film, not just from that character, but that line has just taken on a whole new meaning now. Bath Time says, I swear to God that scene in the Kenobi airport was based on 12 Monkeys with Bruce Willis. I actually haven't seen 12 Monkeys, so I can't comment on that.
I have, and I don't know what scene in Kenobi you're talking about.
That scene in Kenobi airport. Oh, that was a checkpoint, wasn't it? When they could have quite easily just walked around the outside of that laser field. That wasn't an airport.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be it.
Is he just talking about the Inquisitor Alcatraz base? Oh, hang on. With the overcoat walking through the spaceport.
Oh, wait. So wait. You mean Fortress Inquisitorius?
Yeah, it's the bit where Kenobi's smuggling Leia out, and he's got the. He looks like that scene from Austin Powers Goldmember where he's
I was just thinking about that. It's
he's
Mini-Me.
stood on top of Mini-Me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that was Andor. This was fun. We need to do this again. We need to have a chat and talk Star Wars again because this was really fun.
I'm caught up.
You are caught up. I mean, I don't know what your schedule's like for every Wednesday night because that's precisely when I'm going to be live again for Andor. I mean, if you want to join me for next week, be happy to have you anytime, mate. So next week, episode 6 review. I don't know what it's going to be called yet. That's going to be Wednesday, the 12th of October at the same time, 11 p.m. British Standard Time. If that does change, it shouldn't do, but I will let you guys know. Give me a follow on Twitter at Hobbit Fan Editor. I give you all the updated times and when I'm changing things around. Also, give me a subscribe. I'm very, very, very close to 150 subscribers now, which is great, and I'm very grateful to everyone that has liked me prattle on. Has liked me prattling on camera enough to hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. So there's more movie reviews coming, TV reviews. We've got 2 weeks left of Rings of Power. We've got lots of weeks of this, and I mean, we've got this. We've got this. Look at this. This is what we subscribe for right here. This specimen of a man right here.
I'm a fairy.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So why don't once again tell people where they can find you, where they can find your stuff, what you're working on at the moment, and everything in between.
Hello, I'm JXEditor. You can find me on youtube.com/JXEditor. This is nope. Damn.
Yeah, he's got it ink. It's ink deep.
I did that for 5,000 subscribers. I'm at 116,000 subscribers. I haven't done anything else. I need to I should probably get like a brand or something.
You need the next milestone. Yeah, what's the next milestone going to be?
Probably either 150, 125 or honestly, it depends the next time it starts picking up again. Cuz if it picks up like a noticeable amount with those numbers, then it should be acknowledged either way.
And I've got a link to your Twitter as well. What are you working on at the moment? Are you just posting Star Wars content as and when you get it out, or?
So currently, I'm trying to keep my focus on somebody else's project. Actually, for those of you who are unaware, a YouTube channel called Star Wars Story is doing a project that edits the Clone Wars micro series to fit more with the Dave Filoni sort of aesthetic and timeline. So what I'm currently working on is specifically in the Yavin fight between Anakin and Asajj Ventress, frame by frame, changing the color of Anakin's tunic.
Absinthe?
I'm doing it where I can, but the way I need to do that is I need to remove everything except for the tunic,
right,
and then put it over the original image.
Yeah, there's a lot of lighting effects going on in that fight scene, if I remember rightly. So
yeah, and motion blurs.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I absolutely love that. So it's the old Cartoon Network 2D Clone Wars series. That was my canon, and still in many ways kind of is. I don't think I can ever let that series go. I'm guessing Mace Windu punching droids in the face. I'm guessing that scene's gone.
So you don't know?
I don't know.
Wait. So I was about to say, have you seen the video about specifically that? It isn't about the whole punching thing. I don't know about that, but I know that he posted a video about that scene, specifically when you know how like he doesn't have his lightsaber throughout the entire thing, and then he's flying through the air and he sees his lightsaber falling through the air, and then he uses the Force to get it back.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like, oh, he's about to kick ass. When that happens, he's added something. There's an interview. Have you, to anybody who's seen the Graham Norton show, Samuel L. Jackson was on an episode. And to those of you who haven't seen the Graham Norton show, Samuel L. Jackson was on an episode. And they showed him the Force Effects lightsabers from, I think it was Master Replicas. Mm-hmm. And specifically the Mace Windu one. And they were showing it to him, and he's like, I got the real one at home that says bad motherfucker right here. So in this video on Star Wars, oh god. In this video on Star Wars Story, the lightsaber, when he's flying through the air and he sees it spinning, written in Aurebesh.
No way.
The words bad motherfucker.
Cool. That's cool. No, I appreciate that. Even if it was
talking about changing it to just BM, and I'm like, that's sending the wrong message.
I mean, it's not canonical because we see that saber, but even if it was just for one frame, I would appreciate that.
It might be that we don't see it a 360 view, and there's this like bit of white that can't really be explained by the design.
Saga edit.
Don't mention it on the stream.
That's an in joke. We'll get there. We'll get there one day when our schedules are actually free from adult life, which would be very nice. Bath Time says, okay, I think I alluded to this at one point. When's the How to Save Star Wars video coming, or is that just a pipe dream?
Fan editing.
It's not just a pipe dream. The How to Save Star Wars, I mean, if Andor's good and word of mouth when it's done, and they actually draft in some good writers, I would say if they just wipe 7, 8, and 9 out of continuity, but they will never do that. If they can maybe do a cartoon series or some kind of Filoni-led show where, like how everyone hated the prequels, when not everyone, but a lot of people were negative on the prequels, and then it wasn't until Clone Wars came out and all the other material came out that really bolstered the writing, that the ideas that were clearly there in the prequel films but didn't really come to fruition. The Clone Wars helped bring that out. If they can do something like that for the sequels and make them make sense in a way, maybe that's how you can save it and it can bolster it that way. Let's see where the First Order came from and let's do a show with that. Let's go into the whole Snoke and Palpatine thing. That would be the only way I think you could say, but we can save it. We're going to save it with an edit that we're going to do at some point, which will be very cool. I don't think we'll announce it just yet. We'll allude to it, but at some point.
So we're pulling a Disney expanded universe before The Last Jedi came out.
Yes, precisely. I mean, I don't think we're going to save the future of Star Wars, but we can try and nudge what we have already in the right direction. And I guess I'll just kind of leave it at that. Let's see. Who do you want to write some main films for Star Wars? Ooh,
Edgar Wright.
I think he'd be too zany. I don't think it would fit the tone of Star Wars. That's the thing. Oh, that's a really good question.
I want Edgar Wright to write a Jar Jar Binks movie.
I'm trying to think someone who
says, is it too late to kick him off the stream?
Who'd be a fan of the material, but also not completely up their own arse to write a script for it. I don't know.
I think you need somebody up their own. I'd rather have somebody up their own ass than up like George Lucas's ass.
I mean, part of me wants to say just Filoni, but I know that sometimes Filoni's he relies on references too much. He relies on references way too much, and I kind of want some new blood in Star Wars a little bit. I don't know. I'll come back to that. Ask me that again at a later date. I'll
Rian Johnson. On that. I definitely. No. I want it. I'm glad he's getting his trilogy. He's still getting his trilogy allegedly.
It's not going to happen. It will not happen. Dude's tied up with these Knives Out. Yeah.
But he's still like really good friends with Kathleen Kennedy, so
Well, yeah, but do you remember how the two D&D were going to get a Star Wars trilogy from?
But it was like it was pretty quickly announced. Like once that was like determined that the ball wasn't going to roll for that was like thrown away.
Yeah, but Kevin Feige was meant to be getting a trilogy. That's not happening now. Patty Jenkins was going to get the Rogue Squadron movie, which has been cancelled too.
But in all this time, the Rian Johnson movie has not been canceled.
It's not going to happen.
It hasn't been canceled yet, and they're pretty okay with canceling some Star Wars movies.
I could bet money on it right now that trilogy will never see the light of day. It won't happen. Absolutely won't happen. I can't think of any. Let's not say I can't think of any good writers, but just applicable to Star Wars. Part of me kind of wants George Lucas back a little bit, at least in some kind of. You know what? In terms of how you can save Star Wars, I'm not saying bring George Lucas back to direct, but at least getting him on board in the creative department to maybe pen a story idea and have a good writer write a story around ideas that he's come up with.
Actually, I had an idea similar to that. I think it would be a really interesting idea for like all the raw footage from Mandalorian, from Boba Fett, from the sequel trilogy. Let George Lucas edit something
Yeah,
because he always was like, I'm an editor first.
yeah. Well, I mean, even that, like,
Because you've
uh,
got old Mark Hamill talking to Baby Yoda in the forest, which they used as reference for Boba Fett. And so that could easily be just like if you just green screen in like a bit young Ben.
I just don't know how much of a stamp you'd see of George Lucas's. Like, does he have an editing style? It's really just kind of your PowerPoint wipes and transitions, isn't it? But it's not really him. I know he likes to be in the editing room and be present when it's cut together, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'd like to see just story written by George Lucas, or at least get him on like collaborating on the story team, because the dude
Also, I
comes
will
up
say
with good
the
stories. He comes
one
up with
movie in the
fantastic
sequels he
stories, but
liked was The Last Jedi.
so he says.
What does that mean?
I I
Actually, no. So says Bob Iger.
I need sources of that. Thank
Bob
you very
Iger.
much. I concede the point that apparently Luke Skywalker was going to be a hermit. That's fine. That's fine. But where he specifically said that he loved and or enjoyed The Last Jedi, I need to
Bob
see that.
Iger's like memoirs or something.
Don't trust him. I don't trust him.
Okay. Well, but, I mean, but it's at the same time kind of dissing The Force Awakens. So why would you lie about that?
I don't even think he made comment on the Rise
It's
of
kind of why
Skywalker,
I
did he?
still
So
think exactly. It's kind of why I still think the Ryan Johnson trilogy is happening because they've had no problem canceling other projects. So why are they still saying like, yeah, no, that's still like that's still happening. They're not saying like that's still in talks. They're like that's still on the plan. He wants to work on Knives Out.
yeah, I
Like
tell
I
you
feel
what,
like they would just cancel it if they were going to cancel it.
I tell you a director that I would like to see work on Star Wars. Not necessarily a writer, but oh no, he is a writer. No, I
Oh,
take
hey,
that back.
Tommy.
No, he is. Hang on, I will bring that up in a second. Let's see. Okay, you know, he does collaborate in the writing department. Matt Reeves, I'd love to see do an Old Republic trilogy. I think he did an amazing job with the second and third Planet of the Apes reboot films with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War for the Planet of the Apes. I really
War for the Planet of the Apes was the 5th of the originals.
well, we're splitting hairs, sure. I enjoyed Batman.
No, that was Battle. It might have been War. You're right.
They're doing another one now as well. I heard it's been announced. That'll be pretty cool.
Why?
It's continuing the legacy. It's the son of Caesar, which the originals did.
No, they didn't.
Cornelius.
Wait.
Yeah, Cornelius.
Yeah. Well, Cornelius existed, but he didn't get a movie.
I don't know. I could have swore that some of the later sequels were the son of Caesar.
No. Caesar is the main character in Battle for Planet of the Apes, which is the last one. His son is Cornelius, and he dies.
Oh, well, that's
like
probably
he gets because the whole thing is like ape will not kill ape, but one of the gorillas kills Cornelius.
Right. Well, maybe that's going to be the end of this new trilogy that they're going to be doing. It's going to be the Cornelius trilogy, and then he will die at the end of that.
Also, why is he named Cornelius in this? Like, he was named Cornelius after his grandfather in the original.
Yeah.
There is no Cornelius in these movies, is there?
I don't know. But I think Matt Reeves is a really good director. I don't think The Batman was the best script ever. I think it could have done with maybe a little bit more polishing here and there, but I loved that take on that world, and I think he really applies himself. Like when you hear him talk about Batman, he really gets it. He really understands the world, not just in terms of the films that have come before and the different aesthetics of the films, but also the comics and the characters themselves, which I really appreciate. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where that develops. And I think he could do a really good job with an Old Republic trilogy as well, because it has to be a trilogy. It can't just be one film. So I'd like to see that.
Hashtag make Malik Bane.
We got Tommy who says, I guess this is his answer to get Star Wars back on track. Jar Jar fights a Sith clone. You know what? In terms of that whole Sith Jar Jar thing, you know how Disney Plus keeps occasionally putting out these Lego Star Wars films? I could get Ahmed Best back and do Jar Jar and do some kind of, for Halloween or something, do the Untold Lord Jar Jar story. I'd watch that.
I love that idea, actually. That's a great idea.
And
like, for those of you watching the recording of this stream, why? But also,
oh, thanks.
You can go back and like see the circuits connect of me realizing what you were about to say with the whole Lego Darth Jar Jar thing. I was like, that's a great fucking idea.
You can pinpoint the exact moment. Let's see. Bath Time says, is it Neil Blomkamp or something that did District 9 and very nearly an Aliens film? Yeah. I think he made one good film, personally. I really enjoyed District 9. I think it was very good. Then he did Elysium, which I didn't think was a very good film. I thought there was some cool ideas in there, but I didn't think it was necessarily a good film. Then he did Chappie, which again, I didn't think was a very good film. He came very, very close to doing an Alien film, but then I think that Ridley Scott kind of asserted his dominance and kind of stopped that from happening. And we got, what was it, Alien Covenant or whatever it was called? I think Alien? Yeah, Alien Covenant, the terrible film that it was. And then after that, I think Neil Blomkamp is just gone quiet. He's done a couple of short films with his own company, I think, some short sci-fi things. And he's mostly gone quiet after that. So maybe. I don't know. I don't know whether I'd see him as a director for like a compelling Star Wars trilogy, though.
You know who's a decent director who I'd love to see take Star Wars on now that like he's been introduced to the franchise?
Go on.
Werner Herzog.
Oh. Jesus.
I was thinking about that story. I messaged you the other day about that story where Jon Favreau was going to film blank slates and like they were going to film a take without the Baby Yoda puppet in case they needed to animate it. And it's just don't you dare, you cowards! If you have any respect for your craft, you will make it work. And it's like, he would make a great Star Wars movie.
He was such a great character as well, and I hate how just quickly they dispatched his character. I wanted to know so much more about him.
The Client.
Yeah, he never even got a goddamn name, did he? Maybe they'll flesh him out.
Is a dangerous profession. He sounds like old Christoph Waltz.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, we're still getting Taika, I will ruin your whole continuity. Waititi, aren't we? Great. Wonderful.
I mean,
did any of you see Thor?
Mando.
Yeah, but did you also see the latest Thor movie?
I actually did not. I haven't seen any Phase 4 except for What If, because I want a Star Wars What If.
I'd say that's a good thing, but watch the latest Spider-Man film and just end it there. I've
heard, but I haven't seen. I haven't seen the one before it.
Okay, watch Far From Home and No Way. Far From Home and No Way Home. They're really weird titles. Have those be the two-part.
Far From Home, No Way Home. Yeah.
Have those be the two-part epilogue to Endgame. That's it. End the Marvel Cinematic Universe. After that, it's done. I can't think of any other directors that I'd like to see do a Star Wars film, so probably going to wrap that up. Oh, hang on.
James Gunn?
No, it's too zany style. I want something with a bit more.
Trevorrow.
I don't know. I just want something with a bit of drama to it, a bit of weight, a bit of maturity to it, I guess. That's what I want at this point.
So not Jason Segel.
I want a story by George Lucas in a Matt Reeves directed Star Wars trilogy in the Old Republic. Although George Lucas probably wouldn't be the best idea for that because he didn't like the Old Republic shit.
Yeah,
and the ideas that he had for that were very, very different. So I don't know, just some kind of creative consultant. I don't know. Get him in the picture somehow.
I will point out that actually the prequels completely contradict the old old Republic and very much hint at what George Lucas was talking about.
Mhm.
I think they should blend the two, like have this cool Sith Jedi war that Lucas said never happened, but have just have the Sith win, but then they fall because they need to do the rule of two thing.
Who wrote the Old Republic games? Just get them back.
BioWare? Well, I mean, BioWare, Obsidian, you've got then the Tales from the Jedi, which are Old Republic, but those weren't very good in my opinion. Fucking fight me. Ulic Keldromo can eat me. Exar Kun was insanely one-dimensional, but he has a cool name.
I was thinking of other directors. Oh, Denis Villeneuve could be a pretty cool director as well. Blade Runner 2049, the latest Dune films. Sicario. Yeah, and hell, Benicio del Toro was in that, so get him back.
Guillermo del Toro.
Benicio del Toro.
No, but Guillermo del Toro would be an interesting Star Wars
sorry. Yeah. If we're talking about del Toros. Oh, what would you do with that? Because it's got to be
like
it's
a
got
lot
to
of
be horror
aliens
or quirky. It's got to have a darker edge to it. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Like a Star Wars horror film or something. I'm not sure what you do with that, but
Under the surfaces of Mimban.
For those of you who don't know, Mimban was the planet that Han Solo was fighting on in Solo: A Star Wars Story, and is the primary location in the book Splinter of the Mind's Eye, which has some really weird scenes between Luke and Leia.
Bath Time says, "Would you be against Peter Jackson?"
Would he want to do it? At
Yeah,
this point in his career,
I honestly
I think he's done.
I honestly think the Hobbit trilogy killed that man.
Yeah, he just wants to make documentaries.
I think it aged him. I think he probably saw a really ugly side to the studio system. I mean, the studio's always the studio, but I think Warner Brothers was a very different studio and different circumstances they had to work with that. And I mean, he hasn't made a film since. What was it? 2014 was the last Hobbit film.
What, it was 2014 or 2015? I think it was 2014.
Yeah, I think it was 2012, 13, and I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, he hasn't done a film since. I mean, he's done his documentary films. He's done 3 documentary films, hasn't he, at this point?
They Will Not Grow Old is on HBO Max. I need to watch that.
That's really good. So is it just that and the Beatles one? I thought he did a second one as well.
I don't know.
No, maybe that's it.
Maybe.
I don't know if I'd be against it. I've never really heard him talk about Star Wars, to be honest, as a filmmaker.
He talked about it a bit in like the appendices of Lord of the Rings.
I think was that about not making Glamdring glow blue because it looked too much like a lightsaber? Was that it, or does he
it was Rick McCallum, Rick Berman, showed up and like showed him like the CGI that they were working on, that they were working with. It was like I think he was like, we can get you some stuff to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Some like, or like he like helped them out, their visual effects department out with like some coding stuff.
Right. Okay.
I really don't know. I know he helped them like with visual effects somehow.
I'd be against Peter Jackson.
They talk about it in Light and Magic.
I don't want to see Peter Jackson take on like another massive IP like Star Wars. I just want
unless it's for one movie and he has time to pre-product.
I mean, the fight scenes would be mental.
Interesting. I mean, Get Out was great.
The ending was a bit
okay.
Shit. In all fairness, I haven't seen Us or Nope. I haven't seen those.
I haven't seen Nope. Us was okay.
I know that Nope is a terrible fucking title.
I will say that I feel like Jordan Peele's weak spot is writing endings.
Yeah.
And you will see that in Us. I have not seen Nope.
Try to think of any other directors that come to mind. I know some people have mentioned Christopher Nolan. I don't want to see him anywhere near a Star Wars film. He did do an
Zack
interview.
Snyder.
No. I don't want Zack Snyder near another movie for as long as I live. But Christopher Nolan, he did a sit-down interview with George Lucas, and you can tell that he just has mad respect for. It's a really good interview, actually. It goes on for about an hour. You can find it on YouTube, and you could just tell two very, very different filmmakers. But Christopher Nolan's just hanging on every word that George Lucas. You could tell he's like a kid at Christmas. He's finally getting to meet his idol, but that would be a really miserable experience if Christopher Nolan did a Star Wars film.
Before we like totally wrap up, I just want to say I have two notes that I haven't talked about. I thought it was clever that this episode mentioned the word prefect twice, but completely opposite ends of the spectrum. And those two are definitely lesbians.
Yeah, they've been sharing a blanket together. Does he say, "Oh, and if you want to get with Val, she's already
sharing the blanket with someone," but like, just watch.
But then you see both of them walk out the tent.
Oh, do you? Okay,
I'm pretty sure you do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. There.
So there we go. So hopefully you all feel represented now. Hopefully, in this one quick shot in Andor, you all feel spoken for.
You should have felt spoken for in Lords of the Sith and Aftermath. Actually, I'll say Aftermath had the most ham-fisted, by the way, this character is gay, and then they really saved it in the second book. Because it's just so, just like, they had like hints, like, the gay character was like, "Oh, I broke his beautiful face," or I snapped those beautiful fingers backwards because he's an Imperial torturer or a former Imperial torturer. Mm-hmm. And he turns out to be gay, and they get this. They really send this home when it's like the bounty hunter, who's like this Zabrak woman, is just like, he's just like, "Hey, there's something I need to talk to you about." And she's like, "I'm interested." It's like, "What?" It's just like, I find you intriguing. I would like to spend time with you. It's like, I don't do that. And he's just like, "What, aliens? I thought better of you, Sinjir." It's like, "No, women." I was like, this is really ham-fisted.
Oh, but is this actually a thing?
That's a conversation in the first book, but they actually save it in the second one by one having a genuinely like compelling love story that happens to be between two men. Mm-hmm. And then the character who's like, "Yes, I'd like to sleep with you." They bring on a rebel like shock trooper for their crew, and they constantly get into arguments because he's by the books and she's a bounty hunter. And then later they're like fighting in the medical bay, and they're still fighting in there, and there's like screaming and banging on the walls. Like, they're not fighting.
Well, it's fine because you're handling that whole thing better in your edit of episode 9, right at the end. I've seen it. It's good. I approve. I approve of that ending. Much better. I mean, I'm going to keep it vague like that because I don't know when you plan on releasing that edit. But yeah. Anyway, I think we should round off, guys, because I need to be up for work in 5.5 hours. Christ almighty. Kill me. But yeah, subscribe to the channel, almost at 150. So if you can get me to that milestone, I will be most gracious. I will be eternally grateful. Follow me on Twitter. Give JX a subscribe. Follow him.
If you want.
Hopefully not in real life, because that would be a little bit rapey. But link to his YouTube and Twitter in the description down below. Next week, obviously episode 6. If you want to come back on, dude, you are more than welcome. This has been a blast tonight. It's been really good catching up and shooting the shit about all wacky, wonderful stuff, mostly related to Star Wars, and then just kind of going on tangents. But that's why I love doing this. This is great. This week, so Friday of this week, we're up to episode 7. We're on the penultimate episode of the Rings of Power. So that's going to be the second. Wait, did I say the 2nd of? Did I say the 2nd of October? That is the wrong date on that thing, right? Hang on. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, no, it's
Give me
the
a
5th
second.
right now. So
Give me a second, guys. Clearly, I didn't update that from last time. Boom, there we go. Rings of Power episode 7, the 7th of October. There we go. That's going to be at 11 p.m. British Standard Time. I love reviewing it week to week because it's like, what unholy concoction are they going to throw at us this week? It's getting worse. It's getting more hilarious, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. So that'll be really fun to discuss. And rescheduled, it should have been this week actually, but I was in London at the Sound of 007 concert, so I couldn't do it. So I've pushed it back to next week, finishing off my series of Bond reviews. I'm going to have my review on No Time to Die. That's going to be Tuesday, the 11th of October at the slightly later time of 11:30 p.m. British Standard Time, finishing off the Bond reviews, and then having done Bond content for 2 years in a row, 2 marathons from April to October, I can finally move into new territory. I can take on another franchise. I've got a lot of ideas of franchises I want to talk about, and
Name
I
one.
hope you'll... the Studio Ghibli movies, because I haven't seen many of them.
Oh shit! You should invite me to one of those.
I'm down. So there's that. There's a new Avatar movie coming out later this year, so I might do a James Cameron retrospective on his films. I've got a lot of ideas, and I just need to pick which one I'm going to do
James
first.
Cameron.
So kicking off with Piranha 2.
No, but like Bath Time with Vaughn. James Cameron.
Oh, in terms of directing a Star Wars movie?
Yeah.
Just don't get him to write it, maybe, and I'd be all right with
maybe
that.
not.
But
I mean, I don't know. You got to just make sure earlier that week he watches like a really good movie, like I don't know, Clint Eastwood directed.
I mean, the whole planet
Something
would
for
just
him to rip off.
the whole film would just be set on Camino because he's got an absolute water fetish in all of his movies.
Is that a thing? I
Liquid or water, he's obsessed.
Wait, I'm trying to think. Like in Avatar, is there anything like that?
The new film is called Avatar: The Way of Water.
Okay, you got me. Yeah, no, all right.
He's done The Abyss. He's done Titanic. There was liquid metal in Terminator 2. Piranha has water. Dude likes his water. He's obsessed. The man must be stopped. Anyway, that'll do it. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in, commented along. Really do appreciate it. And I will catch you guys on the next video. Take care.
Thanks for watching. Hey, have I told you my Tom Bombadil theory?
No, go on, please. Tell me more.